Do you feel like your aim, game sense and movement is good, but you still can't rank up? In that case, it's probably your mindset holding you back. If you apply these 5 simple mindset shifts, you'll instantly increase your win rate and start ranking up. This first tip can seem a bit counterproductive, but it's that you should actually stop thinking about the best way to rank up, and instead, think about the best way to improve. If you focus on improving instead of ranking up, not only are you going to become a better teammate and tilt less often, because you don't care as much about the outcome of a single game, but you're also going to improve a lot faster, which is going to benefit you more in the long run. If all you're focusing on is trying to find the next little hack that can help you rank up, you'll have a very hard time actually improving as a player, which ultimately is what's required if you really want to rank up. You can definitely still try to find the best ways to rank up, but I wouldn't use it as my main way of improving. You shouldn't train so you can rank up faster. You should train so that you improve all areas of your game, which ultimately will give you the rank you desire. There's a reason pro players never get out of Radiant or higher Immortal. It's that they're simply good enough to carry themselves up to that rank again when they lose it. Which means that if all you focus on is ranking up and you never actually get good enough to play in that rank and play well, then you're just gonna end up losing it again. So changing this simple thing about your mindset is gonna make a huge difference. The next mindset shift you wanna apply is to fully stop caring about your and other people's stats. Just because you're dying a lot doesn't mean that you don't have impact. You could be getting a lot of first bloods or winning important clutches. And just because a teammate has very few kills doesn't mean that they're bad. They could just be having an off day, or maybe they haven't gotten fired up yet. And the easiest way to destroy their chances of ever playing well that game is to start being toxic. This is what usually happens when you care too much about stats and the outcome of a specific game. You also gotta understand that every role and agent have different responsibilities. If you have a breach in your team that always hits good stuns and flashes for the team but isn't topping the scoreboard, then that player could still be doing a really good job and helping the team a ton. This goes for every agent, so understanding that stats doesn't tell the whole story is something very important that all players should learn. The next and probably biggest mindset mistake VALORANT players make is blaming everything on their teammates. Even if you aren't saying it to them in game or getting tilted because of it, just having these thoughts will hold you back from improving immensely. This is because your focus is always gonna be on what your teammates did to make you lose and not what you did. This sort of goes back to my first tip, which is that if you're good enough, you're eventually gonna rank up. It might be true that you played very well one game and that it actually was your teammates that made you lose, but that doesn't mean that that's the case every single game. If you actually look at it objectively without using your feelings and experiences, it has to be you that's the problem, since it's not like the people who are Radiant now got there without having any bad teammates. No, they encountered the same amount of bad teammates, but instead of shifting all their blame on them, they took it upon themselves to improve and became good enough to carry themselves out of that rank and up into the high ones. If you do the same thing, I guarantee you that you'll start winning more and eventually rank up. This gets even worse if you actually call it to your team and you tell them that they're the reason you're losing. Like I mentioned in the tip before, if you actually communicate it to them, that's the easiest way to make a bad teammate even worse. So instead, just hype your teammates up even if they aren't doing very well. If they get 1 or 2 nice kills, hype them up and maybe they're gonna get going instead. When you actually change your mind to think like this, you're gonna have a lot more fun playing, because instead of thinking that you have no impact on whether you lose or win, you're gonna think about what you can do to improve yourself to rank up. The fourth mindset change I want you to make is to become more confident. Confidence is key for every role in VALORANT, but especially for duelists. If you're not confident, you're probably not going to want to go in first, and then that forces your teammates to go in first, which we all know is a bad idea, considering duelists are made to entry. But confidence doesn't only help duelists, it's advantageous for simply winning duels as well. But how do you become more confident? I think a lot of confidence comes from you knowing that you're able to do something. If it's your first time doing something that doesn't relate to anything you've done in the past, then you're probably not going to be very confident in your abilities to do that thing. But if you've done that same thing hundreds of times, no matter how hard it is this time, you're still going to have quite a lot of confidence because you've already done it in the past. The way to apply this to VALORANT is by mainly picking one agent and position to main. And when I say main, I really mean that. I don't want you to switch sides every game you play, or to have an agent pool of 5 agents as your so-called mains. Have 1 or maximum 2 agents that you play in the majority of your games. What this is gonna do for you is giving you experience with every single scenario. When you've played this agent for hundreds of games, you're gonna know exactly how to push and defend every site, and how to use your abilities in the best way possible. Having one main agent and ideally one main position that you play on each map is gonna make you improve so much faster than if you don't. And if I were you, I wouldn't be afraid of instalocking. Yes, it can seem like you shouldn't do it, but at the end of the day, it's the best way to improve, and it's gonna be a lot faster than if you're a flex player who's switching agents every single game to fit their team. And at the end of the day, like I said, you only really have yourself to rely on, especially when solo queuing, which means that if you can give yourself the advantage in every single game, game of having an agent that you really like and that you know that you're good with, you're not only gonna improve way faster on that agent, but you're also gonna have a higher likelihood of winning that game since you know that you're gonna perform with that agent. There's a reason most pros only have around 2 agents that they actually play and play very good with. It's because it's near impossible to reach the highest levels with an agent if you're maining 5 or 6 agents. So pick 1 or 2 agents and you're gonna see your confidence skyrocket. One of the most common mistakes players make that's especially common in lower ranks is getting tilted. This can seem like a normal thing to happen if you're taking the game seriously, but it shouldn't be happening all that often in ranked. I believe that the reason people get tilted so often is because they put too much value on the outcome of a single game or round. In reality, losing one game isn't gonna do anything to your rank. Sure, it might be your rank up game and so it feels really bad to lose it, but if you're good enough, you're eventually gonna rank up either way. You're never gonna stop tilting unless you actually fix the underlying problem, which is what you value. If your goal when playing is always to get a lot of kills and win games, then it's inevitable that you're gonna end up tilting because you can't win and top frag every single game. But if you instead value improvement in all aspects of your game, then tilting is gonna become nothing more than a rare occurrence. There are some easy tricks other than your values that you can apply to help with tilting. To find out what those are, check out the video on the screen. See you there.